Alright guys, gals, friends, family, Steve Patton with General Patton Bushcraft back with you with another video. Today's video is the recap of Alone Australia Season 1, Episode 6, titled Sink or Swim. Stay tuned. Okay friends, let's get right into this. I'm going to try to make a quick recap, not to put a whole lot into it. Not a lot of you seem to be interested in Alone Australia, but you know every Alone show starts with a famous quote from a famous person, and this quote for Season 1, Episode 6, titled Sink or Swim is, quote, "The important thing in life is not the triumph, but the struggle." And that's by Pierre de Coubertin. Alright friends, 5 participants are settled in after 10 days. Each one is focused on their strategy to win the $250,000. Alright, it's day 10, 7:28 in the morning, 5 people remain. And the show goes right to Mike. He's the 45-year-old solo adventurist from New South Wales, and he's pretending to play golf. It's a very nice day with blue skies. It's been a long time since they've had a nice day. And the kayak is all done that Mike's been working on for the last 8 days. It looks pretty good. And they show us the film of how he poked all those holes in the tarp to get that lacing in. Very smart move on Mike's part. He heats up the handle from his billy pot, and he uses it like a hot iron to melt holes in the tarp. To lace it to the kayak wooden frame, friends, it's pretty good. Friends, it's looking good. It's a very narrow kayak. He puts it in the water, and he gets all tucked in that narrow kayak, and friends, ooh-wee, it immediately sinks. Alright friends, day 10, 9:22 in the morning, and the show goes right over to Gina. She's the 52-year-old rewilding facilitator from New South Wales, and she wakes up to that same beautiful day full of sunshine, and she tells us that her shelter was super warm last night, and that's because of that brand new door that we saw her make. Now, she brought a possum skin fur coat as one of her 10 items. And friends, she's telling us how good are things for her as she slept naked in it last night. And then she climbs into those pants that were way too small for her. And she can get them on pretty easily now, friends. She's lost a lot of weight. No food for Gina in the last 10 days. And her strategy is now to switch gears and look for food. Alright friends, back over to Mike real quick, friends, and we see him pulling that kayak out of the water, and he's dumping water out of his rubber boots, friends. Alright, the show bounces over to 10:44 in the morning, bounces over to Chris. He's the 39-year-old Army veteran from Tasmania, and he goes hunting for yabbies. Now, yabbies are freshwater crustaceans, and we learned that one large yabby can give a man about 1/3 of his daily protein needs. He finds a beautiful stream, friends, with a beautiful waterfall, and he brings some of those guts from that trout that he caught, and he tries to catch a yabby, and nothing, friends. He reaches around under the rocks and stuff, tries to find one with his hands, nothing. So we see him back at the shelter, friends, and a survey chopper flies overhead and launches Chris into one of those bad PTSD triggers. And he has a bad panic attack that lasts for a few hours. Alright friends, it's day 10, 1:26 p.m. and the show bounces over to Kate. She's the 41-year-old biologist from ACT, that's Arizona Central Territory, and she has been hearing noises outside of her shelter at night, friends, and these possums can make hisses, screams, and growls. So she finds a game trail, follows it, and she finds some wallaby scat and also some possum scat. She loves the surrounding beauty of the, as she has settled in nicely, friends, so far. And she doesn't want to hunt any possum. And she's really proud for not hunting any possum. All right, friends, day 10 still, and it's 2:13 p.m. and the show goes back over to Gina, and she's trying to eat today. So we see her gather a bunch of that sausage. That's long grass, friends, and the indigenous Palawa people, it's been part of their diet for many, many years. And the leaf base contains edible starch. We see Gina boil up a bunch of that, and we learned that she brought a big old block of salt as one of her 10 items. So she puts a whole bunch of salt in this soup that she made, boiling that sausage grass, and she drinks that broth from the sausage soup. Her stomach is upset. She drank that salty water on an empty stomach, and we see her immediately throw it all up. All right, friends, day 10 now. It's 11 p.m. In the morning, and the show goes back over to Kate. No, excuse me. It's 11 p.m. at night, and those possums are making a bunch of racket outside her shelter. She gets up, and she films 3 possums up in the trees, and she finds a whole family of possums. She finally works out what all the noise has been outside her shelter at night, so she's feeling a lot better. All right, friends, day 11, 2:03 in the morning, and the show goes over to Michael. He's a 43-year-old vet and bush regenerator from New South Wales. He hears the same possums making a bunch of noise outside his shelter. We see him get up out of bed, and he goes out and tries to catch one of these possums. But as soon as he gets up, gets out there, turns the light on, they disappear on him. So back to bed for Michael, and we see him the next morning. He wakes up and he starts making a box trap, and he wants to catch one of these bush-tail possums, which are very high in protein and omega-3 and 6 fatty acids. They're a very valuable source of food. All right, friends, it's day 11 now. 8:28 in the morning, the show goes back over to Mike, and he's working on that kayak. And he fixes, friends, the problem with that kayak. He finds the problem, relaces the corner of it, pulls the tarp up. It was a low spot, allowing water in. He gets that remedied, and he puts that kayak back in the water for round 2. This time it's working great, friends. He goes out in the middle of the lake. He tries fishing with a lure that he made out of wood and a thin slice of rubber from a gum boot. And friends, the lake is 60 meters deep, or 196 feet deep where he's at. And friends, he's paddling around. He complains that the paddle is heavy. He does not like the seat position in the kayak, and his stomach muscles are burning. Friends, he finds an island and gets out and explores. Nothing, no signs of food. All right, friends, it's day 11 and 5 people remain, and the show goes back over to Chris. Chris wakes up in a good mood, and he goes fishing. Remember, he's got like 4 or 5 fishing poles in the water, and Chris catches his 3rd trout in 11 days. An excellent source of vitamin B12 and omega-3, which is really good for the brain. So good on Chris. He soups that whole fish, and he eats the whole thing, friends. All right, friends, it's day 11, 2:08, and Mike is fishing out in the middle of the lake. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. He's been fishing all day. He's been burning a lot of calories, paddling that kayak all over the lake, friends, and not bringing in any food, not catching any fish, friends. So we see him back at the shelter, and he's thinking about switching strategy just to strictly conserving and playing the starvation game. All right, friends, that night on day 11, 8:30 that night, the show goes back over to Chris, and Chris is talking about tapping out, friends. He says he's got a hard time keeping his mind straight and keeping all those emotions in control. Says he's going to wait till in the morning, friends, see what the morning brings. He promised he would only tap out in the morning. All right, friends. Alone. Season 1, episode 6, titled Sink or Swim, ends right there. That's where my recap ends, friends. Before you leave the channel, please consider subscribing. If you do subscribe, bang that bell icon and you'll get notification of when I release the next video. I try to release these videos about every 2-3 days or so, friends. So stay tuned for the next video. Leave me a comment. Let me know who you think's going to win Alone Australia. And give the video a like, friends. And please, please don't depart from the faith. And as always, God is good. God is great. I see you all on the next video. Already got a date.